I think my first tip is to a player who wants to become a pro player is play it as a casual first, see if you like the game, see if it interests you, see if you get the competitive and you like the competition of becoming better and better. Starting out 8 hours every day is not how you want to do it. It's not how you start your hobby. A hobby is something you develop over time and see like, I really want to play, I really want to play. It's all about that. If you have the hunger to play, you have the right will. That's how you're going to start. And like I said, start playing out with friends, see how it feels like. You become better than your friends. You start playing with better players, and that's how you move up. And I think that's how it is in all sports. You start out as a hobby. You don't go to soccer without touching a ball and say, I want to be like Ronaldo. That's not how it works. So I think the same applies to all other sports. When I started playing this game, I loved it. And my love is only getting stronger every day. Back then, I couldn't play football for 6 months because of injury I had. So for me, it was important to find a competition somewhere else. And when you can't go out play football with your friends, you start doing it in a computer game. And suddenly, those 6 months when I played casually, I became better than my big brother who played for 3 years. So I started seeing I had some kind of talent for it, and I just kept on working it for the last 17 years. I think the main steps was for me that I had a big brother. I saw how he played. Sometimes at night when I couldn't play, I sneaked out of my room into my brother's room and he was playing. I was watching behind how he was playing. So I think the best way is to learn is always to watch other players play, right? It's like a soccer player, watch Ronaldo playing, he makes some kind of move. You go out the day after, you make the move yourself on the field, right? So I think that's the best way to do it. You kind of see how people approach the game, you kind of learn and live by that. And again, I think when it comes to life, everything is about trial and error, and it applies again to CSGO. You figure out your way to play, you figure out what keyboard, mouse you want to do, you trial and error until you find your perfect setup. One of the main focuses that as a player you need to be able to have your keyboard, mouse and mousepad. You have to choose what you think you can become best with. You have to play a lot, you have to watch a lot of games. Watching professional games give you opportunity to see how teams works. Also, I think you just have to start out with friends and play a lot of deathmatch, and that's the way you become a player. You see if you have the competitive mindedness within the game and just not only playing for casual. I think one of the most important skills as a player is definitely your reaction time has to be high. It is a reaction time game where the guy who shoots first often wins, right? But also precision. You have to have determination and give up a lot of stuff to become a pro player and become good. So I think there's a lot of different skill sets in different roles, right? You have a sniper, you have an in-game leader. If you're an in-game leader, you need to have some kind of leadership role or skills in that way to make sure that you can put your players in good spots and make the team better in another way than killing. I think there's different things that make you strong during a game. I think as a player, as a leader, I think it's always to be positive, to even if behind 8-0 you still believe. And like you always say, belief can move mountains. So if you still believe, you can always come back. I think that is a great way of going to the game. Even if you have a bad start, you can always come back. And we experienced that during the Montpellier. We were behind 13-2, and we came back to 15-15 against the best team in the world. Now we're using that every time we're behind. We say the enemies we're playing now is worse than a guy we played 2 months ago, and we did a comeback. So again, I think belief is really important in CSGO. Hardware is the most important thing as a pro player. It's the only thing you can bring to big tournaments, something like mousepad, mouse and keyboard. It's the 3 things you're always going to use at a tournament. And what you always want to do is you want to feel at home when you're at a tournament with 10,000 people watching you play. So when it comes down to hardware, it has to be a racket for a tennis player. It can be replaced when you smash it if you get mad, but obviously you want to have the best in the market, and also what your needs are as a player, because every player is different. He needs a different keyboard, different switches, and the same comes to the mouse and the shape of it. I think all players have strengths and weaknesses. I think my strength is no matter how it looks like, no matter how my personal life or my career looks like, I always come back, I always try to grind out and prove the haters wrong and prove everything wrong, prove everybody wrong. So I think that is mentally my strengths, and also the discipline I have as a person comes back to I took an education while playing pro playing in CSGO. So I think that also shows that whatever I get thrown in my face, I always try to find a solution for it. Weakness, I think over time it's hard for me to play as much as the young players. When I played for 18 years, it is really hard to sit and play until 5 a.m. and just grind out as all the young players. So I think one of the weaknesses is my skill level has not increased as I wanted it, but it's something I try to improve on all the time, because you always have some weakness, but if you can do it so it's not a weakness anymore, then you become even a better player. So the last years, especially in Denmark, I feel like when you walk on the street, people come up to you. I'm just walking casually with my girlfriend on the street, going shopping, and people come up to me and ask, "Are you not Karrigan?" And they start taking pictures with me. I think if you asked me 4 years ago, that would never happen. I think esports is becoming more and more generally okay, I would say, because there's always been this about shooting game. But esports is moving so fast. Tickets are getting sold every time we're in Cologne, 14,000 people in the arena. It's becoming the new sport, I would say. I think the young guys don't really watch football anymore. They sit on Twitch and watch their fans. And I think one thing people don't understand about esports compared to normal sports is that you're actually so close with your biggest idol. I can answer a guy on Instagram because he writes to me and he said, like, it was my biggest dream that I get to talk with my idol. So all this small stuff about you can talk with your biggest fan or the other way around is something that's very unique for esport, and I think that's something that will drive esport to become even bigger. I think our team has insanely good chemistry. When you make a team, completely new team, you never know how people mix up with different cultures. Internal team is always hard. So I think the chemistry and the bond we have between players, young players and old players, we have 2 experienced players in me and Chris, and we have 3 young players who is really hungry just to win one small trophy, and I'm aiming at the big picture, and they just feed up by the motivation of winning smaller tournaments or reaching semifinals, right? So I think the skill we have as a team, the hunger we have as a team, and just the chemistry is 3 really important ingredients, and that's why we're a dangerous team. First of all, my father was like, "Why not playing football anymore?" I said, like, "I found something else I found more interesting." And he said, "What is that?" "Yeah, playing Counter-Strike." He looks at me, and that's not going to happen. And then he started saying I had to go to bed early, so I did that. Then I woke up 2 hours after they turned off the lights and played all night until I had to go to school. But he found out and took the internet every time he went to bed, so I couldn't play after 9 p.m. But in the end, me and my father talked about it, and I told him I want to pursue this dream of becoming a better player. And once he saw suddenly I came home with money, he's like, "What are you doing? Are you selling something you can't sell?" No, I'm just playing video games. So in the end, I told him I'm gonna do my education, my bachelor and master, but I'm gonna not doing on the same level maybe I would. So I decided to do both things, and as long as he saw I was finished my school, he said, "Now you can do whatever you want." And now they travel around the world to support me in the arenas, and he's helping me with a lot of stuff around my career. So I'm happy for the way they raised me. He's coming to the Burley Major. He was also in London. He has been multiple places to watch the games, and sometimes he kind of becomes so proud of me, and he talks about me all the time, and sometimes he's probably having tears at home when we're winning. So they're very emotionally, and my parents never saw esport before, but they watch more esport than normal sports now. So basically, when I was on vacation, my father called me, "When are we playing again? We have nothing to do at home. We just sit and wait until you play." So it's pretty funny.